Today, guys, we've got lawsuits that are coming against the DOGE team, Trump and Elon Musk, as well as a huge infighting with the GOP, Mike Johnson, guys. This is not looking good. The House GOP is divided big time on key issues and Senate moves as they try to move forward Trump's agenda. But at the same time, too, Trump and Johnson are doing a lot of executive orders to bypass a lot of the issues that they're facing in the Senate. On top of that, we have where DOGE is literally fighting off the Democrats and lawsuits big time, guys. This is huge. We have so much that is getting done, but yet so much resistance right now. The Trump team is facing fighting within the GOP, trying to get things done. The Senate wants 2 bills. The House of Representatives, Mike Johnson and Trump, want 1 bill, and they're trying to get this done as fast as possible to avoid the government shutdown. Trump is wanting to shut down a lot of federal departments on top of cutting off a lot of spending today. Trump just shut down a lot of contracts through executive order, like trying to squeeze some of the federal departments dry, like a $900 million contract that was cut off by Trump for the Department of Education. This is forcing a lot of these federal agencies to look elsewhere and audit themselves to try to figure out what they're going to do next. But Trump says they just need to be shut down. On top of that, the lawfare is so big. They try to put Trump in jail, couldn't do it, and now they're trying to put Elon Musk and the DOGE team in jail. And I'm not making this up, guys. This is insane. Elon and Trump are now facing, get this, 19 lawsuits right now from multiple states and U.S. attorneys over their work with DOGE and the auditing that they've been doing on the government's financial contracts. You cannot make this stuff up. Trump's White House counsel, Alina Habba, says that they are working with the DOJ to fight these off, stating they are unconstitutional and that the White House and executive order has every right to audit the federal government. Like, we're literally living in this time, guys. We have to literally have lawsuits to go in and see what the government is spending its money on. On top of that, guys, huge news. The FBI has discovered approximately 2,400 records related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, which were previously unreviewed. This discovery follows the executive order by President Donald Trump at increasing transparency regarding historical events. Guys, this is insane. We've got a ton of breaking news for you today. Want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. Thank you to all of our subscribers. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Let me take care of you every day with the top news. And if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, guys, it really does help out so much. Look at that. We got some fireworks already. Thank you to all of our members of the channel. Really appreciate your support and helping us to grow this community. If you want to be a member, the link is in the description to join. And thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation and helping us donate to charity every single month, which we'll be doing around February 22nd, donating to the charity New Beginnings. Guys, I'm so excited for what's coming, guys, but this lawfare is insane. Not only are they trying to put so many lawsuits to tie up Trump's agenda, Alina Habba in the White House and the DOJ are going after the Democrats, including Biden, for what they did that was unlawful. Listen to this.
No, I'm telling you the truth. Communism is very lucrative for the commies because they get to control the means of production. That's the definition of communism, man. Government control of the means of production. Factories, farm output, money. Where do you think the money goes? People still do stuff in communism. They have to stay alive. But the old joke was they pretend to work, the government pretends to pay you. Follow the money.
Yes.
Trump and Elon are doing, I said this last week, the clip went viral, hat tip Mario Nafal and others who put it out there, thank you. Elon Musk's contribution to liberty and freedom. Tesla's great company. He's a capitalist. Fine. SpaceX, this guy's a genius. Starlink, great, all great products. X, can't thank him enough for freeing up X. I'm telling you, what he's doing right now, shutting down the deep state bank account, is going to be 10X more important than any of that other stuff. It's all great. It's fair. It's unbelievable. The guy's a capitalist. The Carnegie of our time, or whatever. I'm just telling you what he's doing to shut the deep state bank accounts down now. The piggy bank, the money laundering, the spying, the regime change around the world and here that's happening with your money is 10x more important. Folks, there is big money in this.
Yep.
Do you understand the budget was in the tens of billions of dollars? For the out there on the left going, the government spends 6 trillion, 40 billion, 10 billion, 40 billion. That's not a lot of money. Really? Kamala's entire presidential campaign was 1.5 billion. You're telling me 40 billion a year, you can't change global politics? Give me a break, bro. You guys remember this from Maria Bartiromo's show? Here's a clip, a real journalist, Maria Bartiromo, unlike this Margaret Brennan, right? Maria Bartiromo had James Comer on. I want you to listen to the amount of payments Comer found going to the Biden family. Dan, why are we talking about the Biden family? Because it's not about the Biden family. The Biden family is a small piece of corrupt politicians making bank and getting rich off your tax dollars and places like USAID that launder it. That's why. The amounts here are stunning of global payment flows flowing to all of these people. I'm not telling you these payments are from USAID. These are from China and other places. I'm simply telling you that the Biden family, if, again, you read chapter 1 of my book, Insane in Ukraine, in my book, Follow the Money, you will see Ukraine was a significant beneficiary of some of these payment systems too, and some of the same money was flushed back to the Biden crew. There's big money in this. Watch this.
Back in March, Comer sent this letter to Biden. Quote, the committee has accounted for over $24 million that has flowed from foreign sources to you, your family, and their business associates. The committee has identified no legitimate services to merit such lucrative payments. You have repeatedly denied playing any role in your family's business activities, but the committee has amassed evidence, including bank records and witness testimony, that wholly contradicts your position on these matters. The committee has identified and successfully traced money from foreign transactions, including from China, straight to your bank accounts.
Guys.
Certain checks have been described as loan repayments. However, the person who provided you free bookkeeping during your time as vice president did not remember any evidence of a loan from your accounts.
Folks, do you see the amount of money flowing around the globe to pay off corrupt politicians, deep state bureaucrats, and other general scumbags getting rich off your money? $40 billion is a ton of money, okay? This is huge.
Guys, and I want to say it's $40 billion a year. Not over 2 years, not over 3 years, a year. Imagine what you could do with that.
Huge. Now does the leftist response make sense? This money trail is real. Folks, I keep telling you, follow the money trail. This is not a difficult case. This is super easy to understand. The federal government steals your money in the form of excessive tax payments. They're using these tax payments to fund this organization that has done everything in its power to fund anti-American censorship activities and regime change around the world. And they don't want you to see it. That's why they're freaking out. And these two lunatics want people arrested for figuring it out. Here's Politico. They had to get involved too. Activist judges are making up law now. Judge orders sweeping restrictions on DOGE access to sensitive Treasury payment systems. This isn't even real. This judge, air quotes, just made this up. Did you read the ruling? They don't even really cite any kind of law or anything. He makes up some connection to the Administrative Procedures Act. This is just a fairy tale. This is how desperate they are to stop this thing. To stop you from seeing the money trail and where your money went. Here is a USAID-funded operation. It's called Internews. It's Internews, air quotes. It's everything you think it is. USAID, there's been some funds here that have been cross-pollinated with Internews. Here is the head of Internews, Jeanne Bergauld. Whatever. I'm sorry for saying her name wrong. It's not intentional. I don't really care. Notice how she talks about disinformation and exclusion lists. Your taxpayer dollars are funding a lot of this. Disinformation is code word for censorship and conservative ideas. Exclusion list means any conservative website, podcast, or whatever, we're going to make sure no advertiser puts their stuff on there because we just don't like your politics. Listen to this.
Disinformation makes money, and that's one of the, we need to follow that money, and we need to work with in particularly the global advertising industry, that a lot of those dollars go to pretty bad content. And so you can work really hard on exclusion lists or inclusion lists to sort of really try to focus ad dollars and challenge the global advertising industry all around the world to focus their ad dollars towards the good news and information, the accurate and relevant news and information.
No,
guys,
I'm telling you the truth.
Let me tell you this. You literally have the World Economic Forum trying to control where people can spend their ad dollars and saying that we need to get rid of disinformation. It's all corrupt, everybody, 100%. Just like this, that there's 19 lawsuits right now that are going against DOGE. And Trump, guys, look, Trump is trying to clean house as much as possible. From the leading report, President Trump says he plans to fire some corrupt FBI agents involved in the January 6th investigations and cases. Just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching, guys. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support. It really does help out. Want to say thank you to Ruby Hoove for gifting 1 TrueLife News membership. Let's go. And GLO, thank you so much. First time with the super chat. I love it. Y'all show GLO and Ruby Hoove some love in the chat. And also show B1 Sly One some love for gifting 5 TrueLife News memberships, helping to grow the TrueLife News family, guys. I love it. We know right now, guys, the lawfare is real. They're throwing so many things. The judges, in my earlier show, I showed that we literally have judges that are trying to threaten Trump and his team with jail time and arrest warrants, guys. Listen to this, guys, because it is an uphill battle. But if we don't do this, it's going to be even worse. Listen to this.
Trump was in these years of what I call the lion in winter. And what the Republican establishment would make sure, they would go to Mar-a-Lago to make sure the lion was in the cage. We were sitting there going, hey, we're working every day on the political side at the grassroots level and also helping guide these institutions that are doing the hard work of policy and building teams and networks to make sure that when he returns, because he's thought this through a lot, that we have muzzle velocity to drive this to and accomplish what we want to accomplish that we authority to in the first time. One of these is a big idea. It's called the Unitary theory of the executive. Now, before Dick Cheney got into things with Congress and what President Trump thinks quite different. And this is where you see Russ Vought and Mike Davis and Mark Paoletta and others that are some of the lawyers and the constitutional lawyers involved in this. The Unitary theory says by our Constitution, the president has 3 roles as defined. Number 1, he's the chief executive officer of the U.S. government. Number 2, he's the commander in chief of the uniformed services, the military. And the third, which I never want to talk about, he's the chief magistrate and chief law enforcement officer of the government. Now, since Watergate, and Watergate was really a legal coup against Nixon, not so much CIA was involved, other people were involved, the Woodward Bernstein, the media, but it was really Judge Sirica, a federal judge, working with lawyers on the House impeachment committee, also working with lawyers in the DOJ that we now know did much of what they've been trying to do with President Trump. And so they hate the fact that the Justice Department, the FBI, has been hermetically sealed, and these progressive left globalists have run it at detriment to any Republican administration. And although most Republican administrations didn't go hard at all, they would be batted back immediately. And even President Trump, we were thwarted in year 1. So in the unified theory, as chief executive, he's sitting there saying, hey, they give me pretty open field running in the Constitution about my Article 2 powers, to wit, and what Kane's talking about a lot is about the money that gets allocated or appropriated is a law. But for instance, if there's $300 billion in a green, he calls it a green new scam that's still there and a law has been passed, and he thinks that they can show that it hasn't been used properly or it's unspent, he believes that the The Constitution says the appropriation is a ceiling, and he has the ability to go back and redirect it. He also
Yes.
thinks he has the ability with Elon Musk as an outside advisor when they highlight something like USAID and say this is really a CIA cutout. It's the money's supposed to be for development, helping people, philanthropy. We actually know it's a CIA cutout. And it's been funding, as we showed on War Room, it's been funding the invasion through the NGOs, the invasion on the southern border. Oh, by the way, it's also been funding all types of media suppression and online suppression to suppress the MAGA movement and President Trump's followers in the United States, including deplatforming people like my show. Then he feels that he can say,
guys, I just have to say, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's so beautiful to hear Steve Bannon, who knows all these laws and all this stuff, just articulate how it all works, that Trump has the authority to stop the spending. Yes, Congress is the one who controls the purse, and they approve the laws to give the funding. But if he sees fit, based upon the law, that if we're spending and it's not in the best interest of the country, he can stop that. That's what I love about this right here. I want to say thank you so much, Mr. Norby, for the super chat. Let's go. He said, hey, for gifting memberships, my TrueLife News brother. Let's keep draining the swamps 100%. Y'all show Mr. Norby some love in the chat, everybody.
hey, I'm going to zero this out and Congress has got to catch up with me. On the military side, he feels, hey, I can send Pete Hegseth to the border, my Secretary of Defense, to the border with 1,500 troops to protect the national security, right? And I can do that, and I will do it. He also says, hey, I can recall Milley back to uniform and have him put on trial for treason. On the other side, he's saying, hey, the FBI, I can redo the FBI, I can restructure the Justice Department, and you're not going to stop me, right? Because I am the chief executive, I'm president of the United States. Mm-hmm. This is why Kane and these elite globalists are in shock. I mean, your first question about they're not ready, this is kind of their bleeding right now. They're writing op-eds in the Wall Street Journal, they're writing op-eds in the New York Times. I got a news flash for them. Op-eds in the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal are not going to hack it. If that's what you're going to bring, you're bringing a knife to a gunfight, okay? Because this is a confrontation. This is what I'm saying, Days of Thunder. President Trump is, over this whole vertical, is hitting them every day with 10, 15, 20 executive actions and executive orders. I feel we have the best handle on it. And I tell guys, there's a dozen things we can't even cover today because we got to focus on the 3 or 4 most major ones. So this is a direct confrontation. Heads up to folks in England. If you are to ever take your country back, your first step was Brexit. But if you're ever to take your country back because you saw what the established order, because I sat with Theresa May and this crowd when they came over, they saw Brexit as a problem and they didn't want to deal with it. You then saw Boris Johnson, that his idea was to have it as Singapore and the Thames, right? Was to basically do a deal with like the oligarchs in the city of London and the tech oligarchs in Cambridge and have the same problem on a smaller scale of the United States. When the Reform Party and others come together, when you go after to actually try to take the apparatus apart and try to have it respond to the British people, you're going to have, it's going to be a smaller scale, but it'll be just as intense. Your day's coming. Either that or you'll never get your freedom back. And you're seeing right here, it's going to get ugly. And I can understand why Kane and those guys think it is an authoritarian thing. My point is, you're taking us to court. You're using the court systems. You can't pass legislation because you're not in the majority thing, but you can still get up there and use the bully pulpit. You still have all the media, although they've been kind of shattered by new media and the podcast, right? And the things like the GB Newses of the world. You've been shattered by that, but you still have all those tools. If you have an argument that people believe, and this is my point to our side, radical transparency. The more information you put out, the American people go, I didn't know that. I'm paying for that. This is why we're $2 trillion. Radical transparency, radical declassification of these documents never should be classified because it's classified to make sure the globalists and the elitists can do it. So Tim Kaine's going to have many more bad days in front of him. They've already suing us everywhere from the deportations to every step President Trump does. They're trying to stop it. We're powering through it. And here's what's so great is President Trump is so kowtowed. The Republican establishment's kowtowing to them. And so that now you're seeing him as a man in full. He is full on and everything's a jackhammer and there's no resistance on our side, which it traditionally was.
Guys, let me tell you this. The lawsuits are coming, But you can't, this is what I love. You can't deny the evidence that's coming out right now. USAID reportedly bankrolled Al-Qaeda's terrorist college tuition. The records show. You cannot make this up. We are so bad with our money management and accountability that we're literally paying, the United States taxpayer is paying for Al-Qaeda's terrorists to go to college, guys. That's how bad it is. That's how much we don't know where the heck our money is going. On top of that, there is intentional where we know where this is going. DOGE just terminated a $2.3 million contract for a VR training course that taught soldiers how to have difficult conversations about DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Yeah. And look, guys, I'm not going to play the sound. It's just too much. But look at this. They're going through, and they're literally sitting there, and this is all AI, and they're talking to this, and they're being asked questions about how to talk to somebody about their feelings and about how to include them in the group. Guys, I am so happy. I hate it that there's a ton of lawsuits and lawfare that are coming against DOGE, but I am super happy that we're finally getting the truth to the American people about where our money's been going. Joyce Massa, welcome to the family. Let's go. Y'all show Joyce some love in the chat. And Sammy Smith, thank you so much for the super chat. Said, Lord, each of whose walls I cover with Psalms 91 in the spirit realm, try. Thank you for exposing all that's been hidden, 100%. Y'all show Sammy some love in the chat, as well as, I just passed it, Mama Bear KMDM, welcome to the family. Y'all show Mama Bear some love in the chat. Guys, and again, too, they can't stop them through congressional, going through the votes and putting the laws and things like that. We have the majority in the House. We have the majority in the Senate. But now they're all trying to tie up Trump in lawsuits. Listen to this.
Fair. That's all they got. And the audacity of the left is really amazing to me. They don't care about standards. They don't care about authority or even the Constitution or what might happen to them. I mean, they never have any consequences, so why would they care? They are fighting tooth and nail to stop all of Trump's stuff, from DOGE or any other cuts to government reforms. Today, an Obama-appointed judge from Rhode Island, no less, went even further and told the Trump administration that he has to effectively keep giving unaccountable money away. He just basically, he said, Trump, you can't freeze any more of this spending. And the stuff you did freeze is unfrozen. I mean, most Democrats are applauding this, even though they don't even know where the money is going. So odd that anyone would fight to spend more taxpayer dollars, don't you think? Hey, someone once said something about this. Oh, yes, it was about 15 years ago. Oh, it was Elizabeth Warren with the same bad haircut.
You know, when that much money disappears, it's usually because somebody broke some laws somewhere.
Guys, this is Elizabeth Warren. Can you hear this?
But if we don't look, if we don't ask, if we don't uncover it and make it all public, we'll never find out.
What changed? Democrats were all about cuts then, but now they're not? Why? And because they're not getting what they want, they just declare it's a constitutional crisis. And according to Ilhan Omar, who oversees the #1 terrorist recruiting capital of America, she's just mad that the $2 billion that was going to Somalia from USAID will be cut off.
Yeah, I mean, what we are witnessing is a constitutional crisis. We are seeing an executive branch that has decided that they are no longer going to abide by the Constitution in honoring Congress's role in the creation of the agencies, in their role in deciding where money is allocated.
Whatever. I mean, this woman wouldn't know the Constitution if it smacked her in the side of the head. Democrats are the most selective people. First off, I never heard her raise any concerns about the authority in which DOGE was operating under before. A little fun fact here, you may not know this, but that office was actually created by, drumroll please, Barack Obama, who founded it as the U.S. Digital Service Office to correct the $2 billion failure of his healthcare.gov website. Their own website that is still the same from when Biden's time was in there, saying, quote, bringing private sector best practices to the federal government. Private industry knows how to work fast, lean, and keep focus on the user. user being the taxpayer here. The left is freaking out about the...
Just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching, guys. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, it really does help out so much. Thank you so much. Marge Paulson for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show Marge some love in the chat.
Very type of employees it was designed to attract. Their memorandum from Obama explicitly exempted them from ordinary hiring rules to attract Silicon Valley types like this guy, Luke Ferrator, who's now on DOGE. He was awarded $250 grand for writing a code that programmed AI to decode ancient scrolls of Pompeii. That's a smart kid. Maybe if he called himself, I don't know, like a woman, stole their clothing at baggage claims all over the airports and ran our nuclear waste department, Democrats would love him. More from their website. Quote, we collaborate with public servants throughout the government to address some of the most critical needs and ultimately deliver a better governmental experience to people. We work across multiple agencies and bring best practices from our various disciplines. Wow. Thanks, Obama. That sounds an awful lot like DOGE to me.
Ooh.
Yet they're getting stopped by judges in every corner. I mean, could you imagine if Democrats had won this past election? Can you imagine what they would be doing right now? This is when they're not in power. Essentially saying that non-elected bureaucrats really are in control, which is exactly why Trump won, because we are so tired of this stuff. The left's argument here is that no one elected Elon Musk. That's such a terrible, stupid argument. No one elected the ATF. No one elected the head of USAID. No one elected the head of the EPA or the other heads of 400 agencies we have, but they did whatever they wanted. They stomped all over my rights. DOGE, in its operational authority and purpose, is being sued for the very reason it was created, and using the idea of a security clearance to keep Musk out. Are you kidding me? Biden gave Musk a top secret security clearance. This is not a constitutional crisis. It's just not. It's actually exactly what the Constitution says. And to further point out how stupid these people are and these lawsuits are, if Ilhan Omar is going on to TV to talk about the Constitution, may I remind her, Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution establishes the executive power of the president. It essentially says the president has the authority to manage the executive branch how he sees fit. He can fire federal employees. Sure, Congress can pass a law specifically telling him certain things that he can and can't do. If they wanted to change it, they'd have to get 60% or over 60% to make it veto-proof, so because Trump wouldn't sign it. But they can't get that, and God forbid a Republican voted for it. Actually, I wouldn't put it past some of them. I mean, they'd be voted out in the next primary. Additionally, the Supreme Court decision, Myers versus the United States, 1926, the Supreme Court ruled that the president has the power to remove executive branch officials without the consent of the Senate, based on Article 2's vesting power, the executive power. Also, the Impoundment Control Act of 1974, this law was enacted to curb the president's ability to unilaterally withhold funds, but it did establish two ways the president can pause those funds, which one lies in the deferral section. As you can see right here, the president can delay spending, but must report this to Congress, which can then disapprove the deferral. If disapproved, they have to disapprove it, the funds have to be spent, but only if Congress says so. Good.
Ooh.
Congress would actually have to do something. I dare them to vote against Trump on this one. This is like everyone's favorite thing to do now. It's like a hobby for Americans to go online and figure out what we're wasting money on today. The trap is wide open. Congress won't fight that. In fact, Congress hasn't done anything, which is exactly why Trump is being forced to do what he said he was going to do alone, while Congress just spits in our faces and does absolutely nothing. Democrats lost at the ballot box. They lost the culture war. Trump's approval...
Guys, let me tell you this. Isn't it beautiful, guys, to see this? Nancy Compton, thank you so much for your support and being a member, guys, for 4 months. Y'all show Nancy some love in the chat, as well as Katrina, Kathy, let's go. Y'all show Katrina some love in the chat. Guys, y'all are so amazing. Thank you so much for your support. Remember, guys, that whenever you donate, we donate this to charity. We pull this all together, guys, and we give thousands upon thousands of dollars in charity each month live on stream. Guys, I wanted to show you this. So now that we've got all this stuff being found out about the Treasury, listen to this. A new whistleblower has come out saying that the Treasury, the Federal Reserve, has lost over $1 trillion of taxpayer money, guys. I'm not making this up. Listen to this.
Yeah, it's worrisome. You know, the Fed basically has become now just a giant hedge fund. It's lost $1 trillion, you know, and counting. It's going to be a gigantic loss. What it does is borrows money at 5.4% from banks and then dumps it into government bonds. So think what that trade does. That causes the government to think that it's better off than it is. And so that encouraged the government to be short when rates were zero. So why did the government, borrow so much in T-bills? Well, because the Fed was buying the bonds and it made it look like yields were going to stay low for, remember the low for long phrase. So we've got these multiple problems that are going on, and it endangers the dollar. So that's the basic case.
Instead of the Fed having such large balances, wouldn't the private sector be starting businesses and risking capital and bringing returns and adding to growth? Wouldn't all that money be better if it wasn't with the Fed?
That's right, and we're depending on private equity. So as the banks get squeezed out, because they're lending so much to the Fed, it's literally a floating rate loan from banks to the Federal Reserve so it can buy government bonds. So if that were freed up, that would allow the banks to at least consider a small business loan and inventory loan, the kinds of things that help the economy grow. And this is on a global basis. It's not just the Fed. It's all the major central banks doing the same thing, meaning taking money from the economy in order to buy government bonds. We need to be clear on that. I heard the previous segment, they talk about money printing. There isn't any money printing on it. It's just money borrowing, and they pay top dollar for it. The Fed pays 5.4 to banks and 5.3 to money market funds, so to the Fidelity and Vanguard and so.
Guys, do y'all hear this stuff? That it's like, I'm getting, guys, when I hear this stuff, I honestly think, dang it, man. We're in a crap fest with what's happening with the banks, what they're finding out with the Treasury, what they're finding out of losing trillions of dollars. That's why we're $36 trillion in debt, because nobody can manage. We don't have a system that can manage how much money is coming in and going out in a proper way, because there's so much segmentation of the federal government, different departments and whatnot. Nothing is running on the same system. And even Elon Musk came out and said that in the Social Security office, they don't have a way to not duplicate Social Security numbers. So how much fraud is going on with that? Thank you so much, Ty Matt Chong, for being a member for 3 months. Y'all show Ty some love in the chat. And Mr. Tracy J. Norby again. Let's go with the super chat. He said, add child to God to the membership. If possible, Joel, my big brother, I'm giving faithfully as membership. Making it happen, my friend. Let's keep on giving to spread the cheer around the world. Let's go. I love it, guys. We'll make it happen. Y'all show Mr. Norby some love in the chat. Guys, I wanted to show you this. Because again, the common sense thing, this was put out to say, like, explain it to me like I'm 5. That's literally what it says. Why people are mad about Doge. It's like you are mad at the person that's auditing your bank account and found out the bank has been stealing your money for years. Instead of being outraged at the bank, you're angry at the auditor. How does this make sense? This is literally what we're living through right now. And I hope people see this stuff, guys. And I feel like the Democrats are going to keep hampering and saying everything's unconstitutional and they're not allowed to do this. But I feel like, I'm just saying, Trump is just came out and said that he's doubling down and they're going to hire 45 more Doge workers to keep auditing. Check this out.
Jesse, the worst congressional fight, constitutional fight, street fight, the worst crisis since Watergate. Since when is transparency a constitutional crisis?
I don't know.
Good question.
Kwasi and Fume, if you're going to say something with earmuffs on, I'm not going to take you seriously. I mistakenly wore earmuffs one time on Fox, and O'Reilly killed me for about a year. I never wore them again. So lose the earmuffs. So the Democrats are shutting down the government to protest Trump. Shutting down the government. Trump's trying not to pay bureaucrats, so Democrats are going to shut the government down, and bureaucrats aren't going to get paid. Have you ever seen Democrats boldly say, I am pro-government shutdown? Ever? Trump is turning Democrats into Republicans. And they're now worried that Elon Musk has access to their social security numbers. Elon Musk is a part of the government. The government has access to your social security numbers. What does he think Elon's going to do with your social security number? What, is he going to like open up a credit card in your name and like max it out at Best Buy? You think he's moonlighting as an identity thief, the world's richest man? This is crazy. Judge, this reminds me of, let's just say, a spouse who is a shopaholic, and all of a sudden you intercept the mail one day. Look at the statement. And she grabs it out of your hand and says, you can't look at this. Now, if you do that, that makes me suspicious. And that's what the Democrats are doing. In order to look at the books, you have to open the books.
All right, Dana. Apparently, for those who think this is a constitutional crisis, it looks like they have something to hide.
And well, again, it goes back to that 10 to 15% approval rating.
Just want to say thank you so much to everybody that's watching, guys. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, I really appreciate all your support. Thank you so much.
Well, issue rating. They are figuring out a way to drive down their 31% approval rating that they have right now. So Pete Buttigieg, for example, is out there complaining about Trump not bringing prices down fast enough. We talked about this a little bit in the A block. And that's like Gigi Waters causing a huge mess in the kitchen and then complaining that no one had cleaned it up fast enough.
It's happened.
It has happened, and it's happening right now. The other thing that's incredible is that one of the things that we see with these Democrats last week, remember when they went to the Department of Education and they were complaining and they wanted let inside the building. They didn't say what they were going to do when they were going to go inside. They were berating the federal official, or the federal worker who was out there. He was just doing his job, and Maxine Waters was giving him a hard time.
She wanted to see his ID
So
again.
they were outside at the Department of Education. At the very same time, those same Democrats literally skipped a House hearing that was being held that very moment on the future of American education in the House last week.
God.
Wow.
And you had the Parents Defending Education group put this out there saying, this doesn't make any sense. And it's not like you have to just look at the three main broadcast networks of my childhood. All of this information is out there for everyone to see, and it's kind of entertaining to see them spiral downwards. That's why I think it's getting so much attention.
You know, Jessica, I mean, if you've got a problem, don't you need a forensic accountant to go look at whether or not there is a problem?
This is the conversation that we're supposed to be having. There is so much fraud, and you bring up Medicare and Medicaid, there are hundreds of billions of dollars in fraud. Imagine you had an icon on your computer screen, and it was of the White House, and you never double-clicked on it, and it was just there. Musk finally double-clicked on it, and we are seeing the files. And it's read-only. Nothing's happening. We're reading the files. And that is enough to scare the poop out of these Democrats.
Yes.
And it's not about constitutionality. It's about the fact that it's a gravy train for them. The Treasury rubber stamped these things. They went right through. There was no control. There was no stopgap. And this is becoming a revelation for people. So when you're a victim of fraud, there are three parties. There's the victim, the perp, and the person you call to stop the fraud. So they aren't the people trying to stop it. Who are they? Just by simple logic, they are the perp, and they are embracing the character, saying, oh my God, you're gonna have the social security numbers. You idiot, these guys run PayPal. They have the social security numbers, you nutbag. They don't even know, okay, either they're so stupid that they don't know how a business works, that everyone else gets this, that every business does an audit. It's called zero-based budgeting. Yep. That's what you do. Every year you start at zero and try and figure out how to cut costs. But they act like it's an act of terror because they've never run a damn business. Coupled to that, it's a gravy train. They've been incentivized to exaggerate certain kinds of programs. Why do victims of disaster not get funds, but there is a trans opera in a foreign country? It's because that incentivized and exaggerated funds that trickle down to people. So you're looking at corruption, you're looking at ignorance, and I'm there for it. And you know what? This isn't going to go away. We double-clicked on the icon.
Yeah.
Guys, I love it, guys. Let me tell you this. I never in my wildest dreams would have ever thought that Trump is now working to deputize the IRS agents to help deport illegal aliens. So this is the actual official document, guys. Remember, whenever Biden was in office, they literally were hiring 80,000 more IRS agents to come after you to make sure that you paid your taxes the right way. When all we're doing is just checking on the government's financials, and they're freaking out and throwing lawsuits and doing all this stuff. And it is, the irony is at the highest level that it could ever be. That the previous administration wants to target more Americans, and now the new administration is wanting to target the government itself. And now Trump says, you know what? Let's just take those IRS agents, let's turn them into Border Patrol agents. Let's keep securing the border. Guys, you cannot make this stuff up. This is beautiful. On top of that, what else is happening, guys? We are getting the actual truth. So this is from, check this out. This is from Axios. FBI finds secret JFK assassination records after Trump's order. How many did they find? They found 2,400. You cannot make this stuff up. Like, this is as crazy as it gets when it comes to transparency. And Trump, hey, what did he say? I'm gonna release everything. Promises made, promises kept, baby. Let's go. Check this out.
Its arms around Trump in a way we've never seen before.
Our CBS poll finds that a majority of Americans, 53%, approve of the job he's doing. That's a better approval number than he ever reached during his first term in the White House.
He is doing, in the eyes of the public, what he said he would do in the campaign. There's political value in that. In fact, 70% of people say he's doing what he promised. As people take a look in these first few weeks, there's been a lot of activity. They're getting that general sense of governance, and that's being reflected in these early numbers.
CNN's jaw hit the floor.
Holy smokes. I mean, look at what the difference is between now versus 8 years ago during the first Trump term. All of these respective pollsters have Trump in a better position now than they did 8 years ago. The bottom line is Americans are far more likely to say they like what they're seeing now versus what they felt during Trump's first term. A positive net approval rating for Donald Trump. Again, whoa, 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 whoa. Entire first term, just 11 days, Donald Trump had a net positive approval rating. Compare that to the second term, just so far, every single day of Trump's second term so far, he has been on the positive side of the ledger.
1 in 5 Democrats say Trump's doing a good job. Even Democrats hate paper straws.
We're going back to plastic straws. These things don't work. I've had them many times, and on occasion they break, they explode. If something's hot, they don't last very long, like a matter of minutes, sometimes a matter of seconds. It's a ridiculous situation. So we're going back to plastic straws. I think it's okay. And I don't think that plastic's going to affect a shark very much as they're munching their way through the ocean.
Real men should never use straws, so it doesn't affect prime time. And Trump says Hamas has a deadline. Listen.
If all of the hostages aren't returned by Saturday at 12 o'clock, I think it's an appropriate time. I would say cancel it and all bets are off and let hell break out.
When you say all hell is going to break loose, are you speaking about retaliation from
You'll
Israel?
find out, and they'll find out too. Hamas will find out what I mean.
Voters know what the press doesn't. Trump isn't radical. He's just radically changing our country back to normal. No guys and girls sports, cutting waste, fraud, and abuse, deporting migrants, and securing the border. All common sense moves. But saboteurs inside the federal government are leaking ICE raid calendars. Joins me. And Bondi says if you get in the way, you're going down.
If anyone leaks anything, people don't understand that jeopardizes the lives of our great men and women in law enforcement. And if you leaked it, we will find out who you are and we will come after you.
While Bondi smokes out moles, the president's pinching pennies. For far too long, the United States has minted pennies, which literally cost us more than 2 cents. This is so wasteful. I have instructed my Secretary of the U.S. Treasury to stop producing new pennies. Let's rip the waste out of our great nation's budget.
No more pennies,
even
guys.
if it's a penny at a time. Wishing wells and fountains hardest hit. Trump has.
Just want to say, guys, thank you so much for your support. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, it really does help. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Luke Gentle, for the super chat. Let's go, first timer. Y'all show Luke some love in the chat. And guys, let me know, do you think pennies should be gone? Remember, this is going to change everything. Our lives are forever going to be changed. We will never see anything for 99 cents. Everything will have to round to 75, 80, 85, or 25. I mean, this is a big deal.
Options that other presidents never considered. The federal government has thousands of properties in our real estate portfolio that aren't being used, and millions of acres of federal land. Trump could sell this property off for trillions and trim down the debt. But first, we need to stop the bleeding.
Well, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of money that's going to places where it shouldn't be going, where if I read a list, you'd say this is ridiculous, and you've read the same lists, and there are many that you haven't even seen. It's crazy. It's a big scam. Now, there's some good money, and we can do that through any one of a number. I think I'd rather give it to Marco Rubio over at the State Department. Let him take care of the few good ones. So I don't know if it's kickbacks or what's going on, but the people, look, I ran on this, and the people want me to find it. And I've had a great help with Elon Musk, who's been terrific.
Trump deputized Elon to hunt down pork fraud and corruption in every dark nook and cranny of the federal government.
Yes.
Bottom line, you say you trust him. Trust Elon? Oh, he's not gaining anything. In fact, I wonder how he can devote the time to it. He's so into it. But I told him do that. Then I'm going to tell him very soon, like maybe in 24 hours, to go check the Department of Education. He's going to find the same thing. Then I'm going to go to the military. Let's check the military. We're going to find billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud and abuse. But I campaigned on this, Brett.
It's easy finding fraud. You just close your wallet and see who cries the loudest.
How U.S. aid got to the top of the DOGE list, I think, is one of the most interesting aspects of this story. So if you remember, on January 21st, Trump decided he would do a bunch of executive orders, right? And one of them was to pause foreign aid for 90 days. Okay, a couple of days later, the White House said, hey, this U.S. aid leadership is trying to circumvent the executive order. In other words, they're just going to keep paying people even though the executive order came out. That alerted the DOGE team.
FEMA spent $59 million in New York to feed and house Biden migrants. Remember how illegals were staying here at swanky hotels and throwing out the free food?
America was founded on
Probably would have been better.
Sorry, guys.
Hotels booked up full for a whole year. Then no one could get a hotel room in the whole city, and other hotels jacked their prices up. And the government wasted $100 grand studying snapping.
Oh, sorry, guys, for the background.
A $2 million military program that forced soldiers to talk to cartoons. Not just any cartoons, DEI cartoons. And Primetime's working to get that video for you. It's over. Common sense is shining down in America, and Democrats can't take the heat. Not too long ago, they thought shrinking the government was a great idea.
With changes in technology, the ability to evolve to government as a service, as a libertarian, I think we can reduce employment in government by at least a third, reduce the overhead and administration by that much or more, so that we can offer more to services for our citizens.
But now that Trump's making cuts, Democrats are defending wasteful fraud and abuse. The deeper they dig, the worse they look. DOGE pulled back the curtain, and now there's no going back.
Let's go.
While most of the country makes an honest living, pays a lot of taxes, government vampires are bleeding us dry, making six figures from corrupt government subsidies to fluff up their resumes. The jig's up, and the country's rejoicing.
They say, hey, if you want to see what he's doing with the government, just look at what he did with Twitter when he took it over. But yes, he cut a bunch of staff that was unnecessary, and he cut unnecessary cost down. If we apply that to the government, that means more taxpayer savings and more money for us to get our government out of debt.
Health and Human Services has canceled 62 contracts worth $182 million. I would like all of the income taxes that I've paid since I've been alive and working to be returned to me.
Clay Travis is the founder of...
Guys, do y'all love this? Like, that's what people are truly saying. They're really saying, like, look, we've spent trillions of dollars. I've showed you that literally a guy from one of the hugest banks ever said, look, man, I was in on it. We all knew we've lost like over $1 trillion. You cannot make this stuff up, guys. I love this meme this image that was created, guys. But I want to say real quick, what's new? Thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Said thank you, Joel, for always bringing us the latest news and truth. And thank you so much, Chip Trap, for the super chat. See, every time I say her name, Chip, and then I try to say super chat, I kind of mess myself up because it's like a word on words, you know. Let the 87,000 new IRS agents audit the government agencies that have been holding our paychecks hostage. That should melt a few snowflakes. What? I like that idea. That's a great idea. Y'all show Chip and What's New some love in the chat. DOGE just terminated. Guys, this is a big number right here. This isn't 900,000. This is $900 million of contracts at the Department of Education. Insiders say the list consisted of between 90 to 170 contracts. They are not playing. And you know what I love, guys? This is young people. Like, the DOGE team is really young. And what I love is that they're continuously just finding more and more stuff of waste, fraud, and abuse. And again, too, we don't have to look too far. We're 3 to 4 weeks into this, and look what we're already finding. Check this out.
The fact that they're being audited and they are in such a panic is so telling. And we have Congressman Jim Jordan joining us tonight to talk more about that. These are the people that wanted to give 80,000 IRS agents and just shove them right up all our butts and audit us to hell and back. Go ahead.
Right. Attack the guy who's exposing the stupid spending instead of addressing the stupid spending. That's the Democrats' mantra. And they use all kinds of big words like constitutional crisis, which they've said about President Trump. I mean, I remember when they said 8 years ago that the Trump-Russia collusion, which was a big hoax, that was the biggest constitutional crisis ever. So this is the typical left. And by the way, Elon Musk is every bit as much a federal employee as those 80,000 IRS agents. The guys who work for Elon Musk are every bit as much a federal employee as the career bureaucrats who are supposedly so much smarter than us regular people. This is a fundamental problem the left has. They actually think the bureaucrats run the country. You and I think, and the American people believe, no. Under our constitutional systems, it's the guy who puts his name on a ballot who actually gets to make the decisions. And he said, Elon Musk is my guy, his team, they're federal employees, they're allowed to go look. And the idea that this judge said that even the Treasury Secretary couldn't see this is crazy. Like, that's the guy who was confirmed by the Senate, nominated by the guy who got 77 million votes, and he can't even see it. Just shows you how crazy the left has become.
Yeah, and it really shows you. I mean, there's so much angst, I guess, towards government, you know, and rightly so. And when you think about how much money gets pumped into that city, and then you see so much of it being thrown away, and then to watch them, to watch how they behave when all of this is exposed, and to see their rhetoric and the way that they talk, this has got to be turning off the American people rapidly. That party's already in the toilet. I think they're going to fall further as all this gets exposed. I want to show you this. This was Senator Chris Coons. If we can skip ahead here, guys. I think he was on CNN, and he effectively is defending a lot of the ridiculous, wasteful spending. He's talking about Sesame Street, I think, in Iraq. Just take a listen to this.
Is funding Sesame Street a judicious use of soft power?
This isn't just funding a kid show for children, millions of children in countries like Iraq. It's a show that helps teach values. It's pennies on the dollar.
Pennies on the dollar. So, I mean, I get it. Sesame Street, right, it's good for kids. And it'd be nice. But, I mean, are we supposed to just start paying for the entire world? We have to raise all the children of the world?
Of course not. No, of course not. And I just disagree with the premise. I don't know that Big Bird and Bert and Ernie are all that beneficial to the people in Baghdad. Certainly not a great use of American tax dollars, it seems, in my opinion. My guess is the families in the 4th District of Ohio, which I get the privilege of representing, my guess is most of them would say the same thing. That's stupid. Stop it. Oh, by the way, we have a $36 trillion debt. Stop it. Spend my money in more efficient ways. That's exactly what President Trump said he was going to do when he ran for the job. 77 million people appointed him, or not elected him, and now he's appointed Elon Musk to as a federal employee to figure this all out.
Yeah.
God bless them all for doing it.
It's just something that it's all just a huge slush fund for anything they can dream up. How much money would Chris Coons personally like to spend on ensuring that the children of Iraq have access to Sesame Street? How much would any individual American, if you put it to a vote, how much do you want to take out of your paycheck for Sesame Street in Iraq? You're going to get no from every single American, but when we put all this money into a big collective, suddenly it just gets thrown around. It's just so unbelievable.
Put it in this big pot of money and let some career bureaucrat here who the left thinks is smarter than you and I and the people who get elected, let them make the decision. That's the problem. That's what they're changing. That's why we need less people in government too, by the way, which they're also working on accomplishing.
Boy, I love all of that.
Guys, let me tell you this. There's a consensus around a lot of the GOP right now. Like as we're literally doing the show, a fifth judge, Judge Amy Berman Jackson, becomes the fifth judge today to block an aspect of Trump's early term orders. This is the time to literally, this is the order, guys. Like, I'm telling you, the lawsuits are coming. I wouldn't be surprised that in the next 2 months, we have over 100 lawsuits against DOGE and Trump for what Trump is trying to do. Now, I hope that the Department of Justice can step in, the Supreme Court can step in and say, look, Trump is the dang president. He has executive power to do whatever the heck he needs to do to put America first. But you're seeing it here, guys, first. This is so much fighting against the America First agenda, so much fighting against what people actually voted for, which was to put America first. Thank you so much, Mr. Norby, for the super chat. Let's go. He said, way to go, y'all. Please support TrueLife News. Here's Joel works and kicks a little butt for all his hard work here. And for the great news, give it up for TrueLife News. Let's go. Y'all show Mr. Norby some love in the chat. I want to say thank you to everybody that is watching, guys. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Let me take care of you every day with the top news. And if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, we're so close. Let's hit that 1,500 likes on stream, guys. We can do it. Just want to say thank you to all of our members of the channel, guys. Y'all are so amazing. We are growing the TrueLife News fam, and we couldn't do it without you. Want to give some love to Michael Gregory, Ruby Hoove, GLO, B1 Sly One, Mr. Tracy J. Norby, Joyce Massa, Sammy Smith, Mama Bear, KMDM, Marge Paulson, Nancy Compton, Katrina Cathy, Ty Matt Chong, Luke Gentle, What's New, Chip Trap. Guys, y'all show them some love in the chat. If you want to be a member, the link is in the description to join. Guys, we are here to serve you guys. Me and my family are so grateful that we get to do this every single day. Guys, there's so much news going on, and I know this. There's lots of news outlets out there, and I'm so grateful that you come here for your news at TrueLife News. And I'm telling you, we're going to keep busting our butt every single day to make sure we build the best show for you. We love you. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you in the next one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.